Hey, friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome back to Going in Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to right here at youtube.com/Steve and Larson. Available wherever podcasts can be found. And, of course, taped live at the Twitch at twitch.tv/Steve and Larson. The main event to All Out has been decided, and as reports had suggested, it is confirmed now. CM Punk in a Raw Chicago promo signed. An open contract is left in the middle of the ring by one Jonathan Moxley, and so that's going to be our All Out main event. And there's been like 10 more matches added to the card, so we're up to, according to your count, 14 now.
14. Expect 3 more to be added. I'm joking. Between now and Sunday, I wouldn't be surprised, though.
Would not be surprised if there were at least 2 more added. I think that's a possibility.
It's a possibility. You know, I was hoping against hope that when Mox threw that open contract down, that something interesting would come of it. Maybe there would be somebody, a surprise opponent. You know, who knows? Maybe something more interesting than a rematch. Something that would have more intrigue to it than Mox Punk again, especially after Mox wiped the floor with Phil last week on Dynamite. But no, that's not what we get. We got Punk coming to the ring, essentially teasing either a leave of absence, retirement, something like that. And then his friend and trainer, Ace Steel, comes to the ring, says a cuss word that you're not supposed to say on cable television.
Fucking.
Yeah. Slaps him, and that awakens something within Phil, and he goes to the crowd and talks about how Chicago is like really important to him.
Yeah.
And he's going to take the match and he's going to win.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I feel the same way about Sacramento, man. It's a terrific place.
I mean, I like living in Sacramento.
Oh, I love Sac. It's great. But yeah, I don't know if I have that passion for it that Punk has for Chicago. But
no,
good
I
for
definitely
him.
do not have that level of passion for Sacramento.
Good for him. He's a homer. So anyways, yeah, I mean, look, this has been reported. I agree. I was with you. I was like, oh, do something different. But come on, like we all knew they're in Chicago. There's no way it wasn't going to be Punk. This was like, you knew. And then, of course, as soon as Ace Steel comes down and commentary says, that's Punk's good friend. That's a really good friend. What's he going to do that? Ace Steel's going to cash in on Mox. No, he's going to take it back to Punk, and then he's going to have him sign it, and that's how it's going to go. Now, the only question really here is, because it didn't look, I'll be honest with you, Mox's work has been so stellar as of late. Let's really dive into this because there's a couple of questions here. Number one, do you think this is going to go one of two ways? And I hope they take the more interesting route.
Yes.
This whole Raw Chicago thing doesn't really sort of, make us forget that just a week ago, Mox annihilated CM Punk. Mox reminded us that at the beginning of the show. And so realistically speaking, like, I know it's wrestling. I get they're going to have, a wrestling match and we can script out a fight and everything, but there still has to be some element. Like, we can't, the suspension of disbelief only goes so far. He's got a cheek to win, right? This is going to be a heel turn. It's the only thing that makes sense.
It is the only thing that makes sense, but it's actually not really what I'm expecting. I'm setting my expectations up for boring face CM Punk to come out of this match. So if that doesn't happen, I'll be pleasantly surprised, but I'm setting my expectations low. One thing Punk said during his promo is, and they kind of set this up with this thing on Rampage, the exclusive footage where he said, hey, when my foot gave out, I didn't feel anything. And that's the same thing that happened when I broke it. And so he comes to the ring tonight and says, hey, I've been checked out by the doctor. X-rays are fine. I'm 100% clear. But it's a new 100%. I'm here scratching my head, and I understand the concept of re-injury. I get that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But, if the threat of re-injury is so high, then guess what? You're not 100%. And guess what? You're not going to be cleared.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I know. That amount doesn't make sense. And honestly, I'm trying not to I'm trying to sort of buy into the spirit of what they're doing because it is wrestling and it's fiction, and this is supposed to be, look, it's clearly Rocky 3. For all we know, Ace Steel's going to have a heart attack and die right before this match, and that's going to motivate. Wait, no, that happened in Rocky, and that's what Rocky lost that because isn't that what happened? Like he lost his trainer, and then Rocky lost that one, and then he had to retrain and come back, and that's what he won.
Mm-hmm.
So the metaphor doesn't make any sense. But let's get back to it. CM Punk. So you think this is going to be, because I think it can go either way. Here's why I think you're probably right.
My expectations.
No, but here's why I think you're probably right. This is why I think your expectations are going to be met. They're in Chicago.
Yeah, no.
They're in Chicago. I don't think Tony Khan, and I don't say this to to be a dick or anything.
Yeah.
But I don't know that I don't know that it's the kind of thing that he would do. I'll put it that way. It takes a lot of nerve to have Punk turn heel in Chicago. On the other hand, MJF was able to rightfully claim, I beat Punk in Chicago. They're not averse to playing with expectations, so maybe it will be that.
Here's the thing. I think of any city in the U.S., Chicago might be the most welcoming of a CM Punk heel turn. They're going to love Phil regardless of what he does.
You might be right. You absolutely could be right. Yeah. But I would love for the way this would be interesting is if Punk goes in there and he realizes Mox is a juggernaut. Yeah. You can't beat the man.
No.
And he's got to understand this, and he's got to use blatant heel tactics to the point that, and now that they've introduced Ace Steel on camera as his good friend, Ace Steel can be like, he could be the conscious here. He could be the guy saying, what the fuck was that? Like, come on, man. Like, you're in Chicago. You can't do that. And then either Punk turns on him, or it's just, the late summer, early fall of Punk and Ace Steel, going around with shenanigans, which also could be entertaining. I have an open mind about a CM Punk heel turn and a title run. I think that I'm much more interested in seeing Mox continue to be champion, but I understand that's probably not going to happen. Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Is it even smart business to put the title back on Punk? Given that he is coming off a foot injury, what?
Didn't you hear Tony Khan? CM Punk's the plus delta. Of course, it's smart business. According to Tony Khan.
Isn't it going to get like a couple, 5 more matches? Because Punk gives it all in the ring, and he's old like us.
Yeah.
Would it be smart business to put that title on him? I know he's the plus delta. I get that. But I mean, what if in another month, or what if a couple days down the line, what if in the next Rampage in front of 400,000 people, he gets injured again, and then they're back at the square one? If you were a booker and you had the option of Mox, who is Mr. Reliable, even when he went away for rehab, he was only gone for 3 months.
Yeah.
Mr. Reliable, he's out there all the time doing this.
Wrestling every week, basically. Yeah.
I don't know. There's something I brought up. I think it's a valid point.
It is a valid point, and I understand that. We've seen, the week after Punk came back, the ratings for Dynamite didn't really go up a bunch. They went up a decent amount for the title bout, about 100,000. Is it sound? I mean, my attitude towards professional wrestling in general is that if you tell good stories and get people talking, people will tune in.
Yeah, sure.
That's why I've never been a huge fan of doing things just to pop a rating with nothing behind it. That say what you will about a lot of the bad stories of the Attitude Era, there were a lot. There were stories, and they got people talking, and people tuned in to see how the stories were going to play out.
Yeah, sure.
And same with the NWO. The birth of the NWO, that story. That's what people tuned in to see. Is what are they going to do next? What's going to happen next? Who's going to join next? Who's going to not join, or who at a house show put the T-shirt on, but when they're on Nitro, it doesn't have the T-shirt on. I thought they were in the NWO, but they're not.
Okay, man, bring it back home. What are you talking about here? Where are you going with this, Larson?
I'm going with point is, if they got a good story with Phil, and that naturally leads to a title run and get people into the program, then sure.
Yeah, right.
Does this feel like that? Not to me.
One thing is a heel, too. Going back to my question about the business aspect of it, heels don't have to lay it all on the line. They don't have to leave everything in the ring because they win by cheating.
They can coast.
They use
what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly.
They can coast.
They can use
Steve,
Ace
you
Steel.
don't like chicken shit heels.
I think a Punk version of that could be interesting. I think he enjoys being a heel. See tonight when he body shamed a guy for chanting Colt Cabana. See a couple weeks ago when he called out Hangman Adam Page, who he's not in a feud with. I think Punk has been open about his interest in being a heel. I think he likes being a heel. I think maybe this hockey jersey they're selling right here is that last big, but his merch probably always sold great because it looks great. He always got really good looking merch.
And I imagine even if he's if he turns heel, he'll still sell tons of merch.
Yeah,
I think it'll still happen.
Yeah, absolutely. We've explored all those little options there.
Let's talk about this then. Part of this, obviously, this is but one match, a 14 for All Out. And just our conversation here, it doesn't seem like we've been as invested in this build to this main event for the title as we would like to be.
Sure.
And I've seen a lot of chatter on the social medias about how the build to All Out this year has been kind of meh.
Yeah, right.
Just kind of meh. And we're it's go home Dynamite. We got Rampage, obviously. We're on the precipice of All Out. Part of the reason last year felt so anticipated, I think, is because we knew we were going to get Adam Cole and Bryan Danielson there.
We certainly knew we were going to get one of them. Yeah. I think Danielson was like who was the surprise? I think Cole was the
Danielson.
surprise.
Yeah, Cole was the surprise, even though we kind of had like a strong feeling. But Danielson, I think it was more or less confirmed by bodyslam.net, I think, before he showed up. But still, we knew it was happening, but how? That was the question. How it was going to happen.
Yeah.
And last year's All Out was top to bottom a really fun show.
Sure. Yeah. It felt big. It felt big.
It did. It really did. There are some fun matches on this card here. I have it in front of me. But for whatever reason, doesn't really feel like the same level of anticipation or excitement as last year's. And the debuts probably has something to do with it.
Well, dude, honestly, I'm one of the big things is that you mentioned right here. Two of the most traditionally in AEW at this point, two of the more important titles that people have looked forward to. I mean, Cody, when he had it, tried to make the TNT title the A championship.
Yeah, why is Wardlow not defending the title?
Well, you have two of the top. Well, okay, actually, no, FTR. Sorry. Well, FTR is kind of like the top tag team right now. I know they're not the tag team champions, but they have all the other tag titles.
They're all
in the
other
world.
Tag team champions, yeah.
Right? Exactly, and they're all just mashed up in a thrown together match. I mean, I know, Jay Lethal's had a thing with Wardlow, but then you just throw in Motor City Machine Guns, and it's just sort of a thrown together match for them to do something. There's no build to that match. The TNT title should, I mean, traditionally, when Brody Lee had it, even when Darby Allin had it, when Miro had it, it was kind of a big deal. It was like, oh, wow, this is so that there's no big story for that is kind of a big deal. I'm looking forward to Jade versus Athena. I think that it's been relegated to Rampage, but they've been going at it long enough that I'm finally excited to see the match. And Athena's a really terrific wrestler.
Yeah, she's fantastic. She's one of the best.
I know, like the Jungle Boy Christian Cage stuff, it's been going for a while, and there's been some hot promos there, but I don't know. I don't know why I haven't really fully bought into it. I thought Christian Cage's work in this has been stellar, and I think it's even elevated Jungle Boy past what I thought maybe his ceiling was, which was just dude who doesn't really talk, and I don't really know who he is.
Yeah.
And so it's helped him, but it hasn't really been all that hot.
It feels like there's at least two matches here, both the 6-man tag matches, that feel like they're matches to advance the story as opposed matches to blow off a story, which is kind of what you assume, especially when you only have 4 pay-per-views a year.
Yeah.
Pay-per-views are kind of 4. It's the culmination of stories being told, and you hit the reset button on the next Dynamite, and you start your next cycle of stories. But it just feels like we're getting started with Miro and House of Black.
Yeah. I think Danielson and Jericho, I think they've done a decent job with the build. Unfortunately, I know it started with Jericho with Blood and Guts, with Jericho taking out Danielson there, and Danielson then had to take legitimate time off because of whatever his medical issues were, and so they haven't had a lot of time to build this. But I think all the participants have done killer jobs, especially Garcia, has done an absolutely killer job. It's a bummer that he's not actually on the card. He's going to be just sort of there waiting for
he'll get involved probably in that match.
His dads to figure it out, I guess.
Yeah.
But no, I kind of feel you. I think part of it, tag team wrestling has always been a big tradition in AEW. And, Swerve and Our Glory, we were huge fans of both those guys.
Yeah.
They were not, they're a Rampage act now. Aren't they? Like they've been building that. Did they build that on Dynamite or was that on Rampage?
Yeah, they built it on Dynamite last week. Didn't the Claim get attacked last week by the
that was last week on Dynamite, not
Rampage?
Rampage.
Our Glory made the save,
okay. They didn't do anything with that this week? Did I miss that?
They did not.
There was nothing of that. Okay. Again, sort of situation where the tag team division has sort of been left behind because everybody else is in the trios division now. Which, by the way, Hangman and the Dark Order versus the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega.
Kenny is going to be great.
It's going to be fantastic. There's going to be a lot of good story stuff going on there. But yeah, I think just by virtue of there's just a lot of weird stuff going on. Like Tony Storm, Thunder Rosa got injured. So that turned into a fatal 4-way, and Britt wasn't even going to be on the pay-per-view, which was kind of weird. I don't know. They got Hook versus Angelo Parker. That's a match.
That'll be 30 seconds.
That'll be 30 seconds. And they just threw this in. I'm glad they did because it's going to be maybe a sleeper match of the night, and it's in the pre-show. It's Kingston versus Ishii.
Of course, that came about because it's supposed to be Kingston versus Sammy Guevara. They got into a thing backstage. Eddie was suspended, and apparently now that their match is off for the time being.
Does that mean Sammy Guevara is going to be the Joker or something? How is he going to get on the pay-per-view?
Oh, he might not even be on it.
Oh, man. Oh, dude, they'll announce it'll be him and Ty doing something with some other people.
Oh, they're going to defend the AAA mixed tag titles?
Possibly. That could be. That'd be kind of weird, though, right? If Eddie Kingston Pie faces a guy, gets suspended, and then he ends up on the show and the other guy does. That'd be kind of weird. He'll be on there. Him and Ty, they're a big deal. They're a big deal.
Let's take a break here. Get a word from our sponsor, DraftKings. Hey, Steve.
Yes.
Get hyped. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Are you ready for it?
I'm ready.
Are you ready?
What am I ready for?
A new football season is almost upon us. Football
is the best.
And what better way to get ready for NFL Week 1 action than with DraftKings Sportsbook?
That's right, Larson. And to celebrate the return of the football, DraftKings is giving new customers an offer that is can't miss. Bet $5 on any football game and get $200 in free bets instantly.
And if you're looking for more action, then experience the thrill of DraftKings early win promotion. Get up 7 and you win. Here's the deal. Bet on any NFL team, any one of your choice. And if your team leads by 7 points at any point during the game, you get paid instantly.
DraftKings is safe, secure, reliable, and you can deposit and withdraw cash whenever you want. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code RAW to get $200 in free bets instantly when you place a $5 bet on any football game.
That's code RAW only at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details.
So let's talk about the Joker really quick, man. Who do you think the Joker's going to be? We saw the debut of W. Morrissey. Is he going to be the Joker?
No, because if he were going to be the Joker, he would have debuted as Joker.
Oh, the Joker always debuts. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, usually. Some people here in our chat here suggested Will Ospreay, which I think would be an interesting
that'd be a
idea.
Good one.
I know CM Punk has been pretty vocal about wanting to face Ospreay. I imagine Will could help Phil get to a pretty damn good match.
Oh, yeah.
Especially after, man, that main event tonight was insane.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
as far as like potential free agents, new signees, I don't know who it could be. I'm kind of the idea that maybe AEW should, I'd like they brought W. Morrissey in because I think he's awesome.
W. Morrissey.
So they should maybe pump the brakes on bringing in so many people.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with that. Yeah. The Joker is, hey, let me ask you something real quick. I'm trying to jog my memory here.
Yeah.
Brian Cage, didn't he debut in some sort of role like the Joker in AEW?
Yeah, he did. It was in the ladder match, yeah, just like this.
Was it not a casino one? Because I'm on Wikipedia right now and I'm trying to remember because I was like, okay, how many Jokers have actually won? And according to this, Hangman Adam Page and Ruby Soho were the only two Jokers to have won.
No.
But I was like, what about Cage?
Yeah, it was a Double or Nothing 2020.
Double or Nothing 2020. Why
Brian
is that
Cage
not
defeat.
on here? That's weird. Was
don't
that
know.
not a casino?
It was a casino ladder match.
Oh, this is specifically for the casino battle royal. Okay, that makes sense. All right. How many casino what's this going to be? Is it going to be a battle royal? Oh, this is a ladder match.
No, it's a ladder match. So it's been 1, 2.
Okay.
This is going to be the third casino ladder match.
Okay. All right. How many? I'm trying to look at the. Where are the Jokers for that?
So the Jokers for that have been Brian Cage and Hangman Page.
Okay. All right. That's weird that it would be omitted here, but whatever.
Yeah.
It's Wikipedia. Maybe I'll go in and edit it.
There you go. You can do that.
Instead of Brian Cage, I'll say it's Cronus.
Wow. I think we had talked about the possibility of Samoa Joe
Ooh, I'd love
maybe
that
being
one.
Joker.
I'd love that.
Of course, setting up Joe versus Punk.
Yeah.
But who knows? Who knows?
Yeah.
Don't know.
All right. Let's, as far as a go home show tonight. I mean the build to let's talk about this really quick.
All right.
While we're talking about all these matches, is Kip Sabian gonna beat Pac?
No.
He's been gone forever. They're making a big deal about him.
No, he's not beating Pac.
I'm not saying should he. I'm saying will he?
No.
Because I don't think he should. But he's got a new hairstyle. And a sort of a beard thing going.
No, he's not beating Pac. No.
It's his first match back. This is gonna be one of those he's gonna lose, but he's gonna get some sort of weird moral victory.
Yeah, he's gonna get some sort of moral victory, but he's gonna lose a match. Yes.
He's gonna put the cardboard box on Pac's head.
That's gonna lead to a DQ or something like
Pac will win. Pac will win, and then right afterwards, Kip will knee him in the balls, and he'll put the cardboard box on his head, and he'll be like, "Oh, I just won."
Yeah.
All right,
Look, I proved the point here.
Hey, Tony, we just booked it. Yeah, I just proved the point. Yeah, exactly.
There you go. We can jump into it, I suppose. Yeah. She opened with John Moxley dropping a promo. He says, "I know Chicago loves CM Punk, but I'm sure they're still mopping him off the canvas in Cleveland."
That was a good line.
Woo.
Yeah.
He says, "I once heard Punk described as a modern-day 60-minute man. What a load of crap. I had 57 minutes left in me last week. Did Phil?" He called Phil. He said, "When someone gets in the ring with me, I test what they're made of. Punk gave me his best shots, and he saw that I didn't care. And at that moment, he started looking for a way out. He folded. Curled up in a little ball to die."
Folded.
And he says, "Champions never fold. I have no idea how sorry. You have no idea how sorry I am that Punk didn't turn out to be what we hoped him to be when we welcomed him back to the greatest sport in the world, but it just didn't work out. I have zero sympathy for Punk, and that is because Punk has a fragile ego, a fragile body, a weak mind, and a weak spirit. It's a tough business, but we move on." He says, "In my pocket, I have an open contract for a title match at All Out, and I'm going to leave it right here in the ring. Because when I say anybody, anytime, any place, I mean it. Who will I face? Will it be someone from AEW, someone from somewhere else, someone from New Japan Pro Wrestling? Whoever it is, remember, I can out-marathon you, I can out-wrestle you, I give zero fucks." He didn't say fuck.
He said zero, you know what.
Yeah, Ace Steel said fuck later.
Ace Steel said fuck later, yeah.
He says, "I'm the living embodiment of this sport. Wrestling John Moxley may be hazardous to your health. Whoever you are, you've been warned." And then he leaves, and then Ace Steel walks to the ring, picks up the contract, and takes it backstage.
Oh, Ace Steel. That's CM Punk's friend, I've been told. Man, he's a good friend of CM Punk. Nobody else in the locker room wants to cop to that one. Yeah, no, this is great. I love the Chicago crowd, too. They're they were chanting CM Punk, but they couldn't help but cheer Mox because he's great.
I know. It was pretty split.
It was, yeah. And they're in Chicago on that one. After that, we had a Chris Jericho interview. He says the Lionheart versus the American Dragon, a dream match for most, but a nightmare match for one of us, Brian. He said last week, Brian asked who Stu and Owen would think is a better wrestler. I know they'd be impressed by his accolades, and my accolades include beating Brian on Sunday. And then Garcia steps in. He says, "Hey, man, I'm sorry for being immature and ungrateful. I pledge my loyalty to the Jericho Appreciation Society. I know you're going to beat Danielson, but you don't have to cheat or use distractions. You just have to be yourself. And Jericho says, hey, Danny, I appreciate that. Hey, but Brian, guess what? All Out's not till Sunday. So until then, watch your back.
Watch your back. Watch your back. So what Garcia is essentially telling Jericho to do is no sports entertainment. You got to wrestle.
You got to wrestle, man.
So this match is a referendum.
Yeah, right.
On Chris Jericho's ability to professional wrestle.
I like that word, referendum. Who will get the mandate for Danny Garcia?
Yes. And so if Jericho doesn't professional wrestle up to snuff in Garcia's mind, Garcia is going to be Team Bryan Danielson. Count on it.
Yep. Speaking of Team Bryan Danielson took on Jake Hager. Man, this match is awfully
surprisingly not that bad.
Yeah, it was for a Hager match. That's saying something. It was also very physical. Tony Khan needs to really tell these guys to dial it back before.
When Hager was doing he was mounting Danielson, dropping those forearms. Like, dude,
he's got a pay-per-view.
Lay off a little bit.
It's like in 4 or 5 days or something. You gotta just
Hager, this isn't one of your Bellator fights. You gotta take it easy.
This is some chump that got off the street for Bellator.
Yeah, this is Bryan Danielson.
That whole table spot too. Oh my God.
I know.
Yeah, that was a lot.
It was a fun match. Danielson got the win here, hitting the knee plus. But yeah, especially once Danielson started making his comeback, it got to be pretty dang fun.
Yeah.
After Bryan gets the win. 2.0, Cool Hand Ange, Daddy Magic, Matt Menard run to the ring. They start attacking Danielson. Of course, Claudio, Wheeler Yuta come to make the save. They dump 2.0 out of the ring. They all brawl backstage. And then Jericho runs to the ring with a chair. And he's about to take a swing at Danielson. And then Garcia runs out. And as Jericho brings the chair back, Garcia reaches up, grabs it from him.
Yeah.
And then Jericho's like, what are you doing? And Garcia says, you don't need to do that. Yeah. And then Jericho turns around, bang, knee plus to the head.
Whoop-ha from Bryan Danielson. Yeah, and then Danielson gives a little, hey, good job there, Danny. Hey, gun fingers. After that, the wingmen from Dark and Elevation come to the ring. And the Nemeth, Ryan Nemeth?
Ryan
Nemeth says, hey, guess who's not booked again? These guys.
You should have said, who's got 2 thumbs is booked tonight? This guy.
And then Pretty Peter Avalon says, from now on, Wednesday night's going to be known as Wingmen Wednesdays, which sounds horrible and boring. And then W. Morrissey, who looks amazing. Yeah, and I'm glad AEW picked him up. He shows up. He comes to the ring. He was probably like, hey, Tony, I got a call from Paul Levesque, and he wants W. Morrissey. What do you say? You want to outbid him? This is called negotiating 101. You can't teach that. So anyways, he comes to the ring, takes out.
I'd say, well, hold on, Morrissey. The fact that you say negotiating 101 makes it sound like a college course.
It's a class. You can, in fact, be taught that. So he takes out the wingman, hits Drake with a big-ass choke slam, shoves Nemeth into Cesar Bononi. It was funny, too, because they follow Bononi as he goes over, because he gets booted to the floor later on, and he's just like, hi.
Yeah.
And then he kills Nemeth with a choke slam. I'm sorry, he did that earlier. And then
the Avalon. Gosh, he picked him up and held him up there.
So Pretty Pete takes off his shirt and he flexes on him.
Yeah.
And I'm like, he's like, what, a quarter of the size of W. Morrissey?
Yeah.
Just runs into the nastiest choke slam you'd ever see.
Morrissey gets him up and holds him up there for 20 seconds.
He starts doing the eye thing, too. I'm like, what? I ain't got no beef with you, Morrissey. What are you doing? I'm one of your biggest fans.
All this destruction is happening, Stokely is walking down to the ring.
Yeah.
And so choke slam for Avalon. Stokely gets in the ring, hands Morrissey his business card, and they walk up the ramp together. And then Tony Schiavone leaves commentary to get an interview. And then Tony asks Stokely, hey, what's the deal with these cards? And Stokely just says, it's none of your business.
Yeah.
And then Schiavone presses him. He says, no, this is, you're handing out these cards. Obviously,
you're on our TV. He says, you're on our TV show. Yeah. It's my business to ask. I'm like, whoa, Tony.
Stokely grabs him by his lapels.
Yeah.
And start
doing the old, the shakedown. The shakedown.
Yeah. And then again says, none of your business.
And then Morrissey sort of getting in Tony's face, too, like he's in on it. Like, hey, this is a business opportunity, and you can't. It's business 101. You can't teach that. That's his new gimmick, is that he's just discussing things you can, in fact.
That's good. He's like looking through the
course catalog.
College course catalog. Is like, oh, here's a course.
Oh, this guy's staff teaches a lot of classes.
Can't teach that. Then we got a Will Ospreay interview. And he says, after all these years, I'm finally getting my match with Kenny Omega. Don Callis steps in. He's just talking glowingly about Will Ospreay. So he's been admiring everything you've been doing. A lot of people say that you're the next Kenny Omega, but I think you're your own man. Man, everybody is talking about. For me, this is the most exciting night I've had since the last time you and Kenny faced off in a tag match. A match where you 8-1 to Winged Angel, but I'm sure tonight will be different.
Yeah, at that point, Will's like, dude, get out of here. Marvez, you get out of here, too. I got a match to prep for.
Everybody get out of here.
I love Don Callis. I love his catchphrase. You're your own man. Will, by God, Ospreay.
Mm-hmm.
I like that stuff. And then this was weird. An hour earlier than normal at 5:37 as opposed to 6:30, we had the women's division segment here. It was a pretty fun tag team match between Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter and Hikaru Shida and Toni Storm. Now, the math here is kind of weird. Shida hits Britt with her finish to get the win here after Toni dropped a hip attack on Britt. And a DDT goes down to the floor, hits a DDT on Jamie Hayter.
Yeah, that ending sequence is really good.
It was really, this is actually a really fun match. And so I'm still probably going to go with Toni Storm to pick up the win. I think she, number one, she's been putting a lot of good work. I think Tony Khan really likes her. The story was, the report was that she was supposed to win this against Thunder Rosa anyways. Yeah. So I kind of think, I think that's still going to, I don't think the go-home math really here applies.
No, I mean, Tony didn't get the pin.
Yeah, right. There's like 4 people involved with a tag team match. None of this really matters.
Yeah. Although I would say I wouldn't be surprised if Britt wins.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be surprised.
And by the way, if you haven't seen Dynamite yet, I would highly recommend during this match, very specifically, you mute it. Maybe listen to some good music or something.
Yes.
Because JR was fucking awful here.
He was awful. Awful.
Yeah.
It's a fun match. Yeah, she does great. She should be on TV way more often.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Then we get a Kip Sabian pack video package to hype up the All-Atlantic Championship
new
match.
All-Atlantic champion Kip Sabian.
No, Pac already has it. All right, money where your mouth is. Put a decent amount of confidence points on Kip Sabian winning this match.
Don't tell me what to do.
You'll do it. All right, I spent time watching this promo again and transcribing it word for word, so please, allow me to do the honors.
You have the floor, sir.
Thank you. So we get a Miro promo next. Here, you play the roles of Darby Allin.
Oh, I love
Sting.
playing Darby and Sting. Yes.
So there we go.
Excellent.
So you do that. So get a Miro promo. Of course, it's all dramatically lit. He says, last week, all I want to do is redeem. The House of Black attacked me and put their hands on the Redeemer. Darby and Sting, the last person who tried to help me, ended up shaking so hard in heaven he shook 3 hands in hell. My God was so scared he made a deal with the devil to take me out. How is that working for you, you coward? Malachi, you think your mist can match my power? Action, Steve.
Darby steps in. I'm Darby. Malachi, you've been very intimidating with what Brody was able to accomplish without you. Malachi was nowhere when Brody choked me out and beat me. Buddy and Brody don't need you. You need them. And the sooner you realize that, the faster they realize that, the faster House of Black will burn down. And then Sting shows up in full-on Surfer Sting, attitude, not necessarily visually speaking. He says, the enemy of the enemy is a friend. Showtime begins now.
And then Miro says, this Sunday I'm going to rip fools and pagans, and they will all find out my power. They come in wearing masks to deliver fear, only to leave with the one who delivers oxygen. This is the word of the Redeemer.
Yeah, this was really good.
Miro's the best. Miro's the best promo in wrestling right now.
He pretty much is. CM Punk probably likens himself or likes to think that he is the best promo in wrestling. He came out.
Miro, hands down.
Sad Punk comes down.
Oh man,
womp womp.
Looked like he had slept in the week.
Yeah, I mean he always kind of looks like that. So he gets in there. He says, June 1st, I broke my foot, and that would have been bad enough, and I wrestled a match on it. My surgeon says I pulverized the bones in my foot. On June 8th, I had surgery. I had 3 plates and 16 screws put in my foot. And then apparently there was a portly fellow at ringside who started chanting Colt Cabana. And that did not make Punk very happy. He said, to mention the 16 screws, says, which is 16 times more screwed than this fat guy in the crowd's gotten screwed in his life. And then he steps back and is like, I probably shouldn't have said that. Probably should. There's a lot of things I shouldn't have said in my life, like that whole thing about Hangman Page just recently. He says, I probably shouldn't have come back too early from a very serious injury. Last week, got beat up in Cleveland. I had to drive home with just my own thoughts, but something didn't sit well with me. Is my foot 100%? Technically, yes, I've been cleared. The problem is it's a new 100%. And I don't know if that's good enough.
I don't even know what that means.
I really don't know what that means. I'm sure somebody can tell us what that means, and you'll probably be right about it. But I don't actually know what that means. He says, I came back to pro wrestling because I love this business. But I also came back because I love the fans. And the fans do love me back, except for that guy right there, Colt Cabana's name. You don't love me. That's why it hurts to feel. That's why I body shame you. He said, I also came back because I love the fans, blah, blah, blah. He said, I couldn't walk my dog, Larry, for 2 months. I let him down, too. So I rushed back to perform in front of the fans. Maybe that love just isn't enough anymore. And then you be Ace Steel.
And then Ace Steel walks with the brisk pace down to the ring. He goes, hey, Phil, this isn't it. What are you saying? This isn't what we talked about backstage. Is it? No, this isn't you. He says, I apologize for interrupting everybody, but I trained Phil Brooks here. And since the first day Phil walked into my ring, he's been fighting from underneath. He says, I'm proud of my career, but I'm more proud of yours because I coached you to do all this. He says, we're not friends. We're not just friends. We're family. You don't let family down. Punk, you didn't let Chicago down. You filled an arena on a rumor that you might be there, and I'm not letting you leave. As you like to say, a phrase that you totally made up, CM Punk. Not how many times you get knocked down, it's how many times you get up. And then Ace Steel slaps him and says, so get the fuck up and fight on Sunday. You got to sign this contract and fight Jon Moxley. If you forgot who you are, Chicago, let's remind them. So they all start
Punk's
chanting.
all fucking jacked up now. He's like, yeah, before I was CM Punk, I was just a punk rock kid born lonely in Chicago. He talks about being like a baby or something. He said, Mox is the wild thing, but you're not wild enough. This is Chicago. We're different kids, but we have the same heartbeat.
There's a lot he said there that I was trying to write, and I couldn't get it all.
Yeah, he said, Mox it all out. You can't break my bones. You can't drink my blood. Because we are Chicago. Woo! We signed, and then he signs the contract.
Yeah, he does.
It's either highly masturbatory or it's just a really, really good setup for a nasty heel turn. I mean, it could, I guess, be both. But I like the masturbatory part specifically here is when Ace Steel says, I'm more proud of your career than I am of mine.
I know. I know. So then we got JR doing a sit-down interview with Christian and Jungle Boy. This is a no physicality interview.
Yes.
No physicality. It was prefaced by JR. No physicality. And Christian says, that's no problem for me. Because I'm going to destroy you, Jungle Boy, at All Out. Because you're going to be a has-been at 20. I didn't write down how old he was. 20-something years old. 20-something.
Yeah. Yeah. Jungle Boy says, you know what, man? I loved you, Christian. And as much as I would love to believe the real Christian is in there, this is probably the real you. And Christian's like, yeah, this is the real me. I'm here to make money. I don't care about you. I don't give a shit about you. I'm not your dad. And Jungle Boy says, yeah, my dad taught me how to be a man. Something I'm going to teach you at All Out. He says, Sunday I'm not going to wrestle. You're not going to wrestle Jungle Boy. You're going to fight Jack Perry. Dun-dun-dun-dun, Jack Perry.
What's that from?
A Quinn Martin production.
Oh, there you go.
No, I don't know. I just made that up. It sounds like a fucking real thing, though, doesn't it?
You fooled me, man.
You said, what's that from? It's a Jack Perry show from Quinn Martin production back in the 70s, man. It ran after the streets of San Francisco.
Oh, I was going to say Hawaii Five-0.
Oh, yeah. That was Jack Lord.
Jack Lord. Then we got FTR Wardlow versus Silas Young, Ren Jones, and Vic Capri. Guess who won this one?
I'm guessing it was not AEW's Honor No More. It was probably FTR and Wardlow.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Shatter Machine, this, so pair of power bombs for FTR and Wardlow. Then Mox comes. We're supposed to have a match. It's a fatal four-way bout. Instead, Mox comes to the ring.
Yeah.
He says, if that's what Punk wants, that's what he gets. He says, if you want to go out in your Shield in Chicago, then yeah, we'll get it. We'll get Punk versus Moxley on Sunday for the AEW title. Punk thinks he's got one more miracle in him. You better find it fast. because the moment that bell rings, you're in danger.
Uh-oh.
So I'm going to put on a display of glorious professional wrestling violence that you have never experienced, and I'll show the difference between a martyr and a legend being made right before your eyes.
Oh, I loved it. This is great. This is better than Punk going up in the crowd and jacking off. Deshaun here says 3 faces of Perry coming soon. What's his mankind going to be, I wonder? After that, we had a Dark Order interview. Ten's knee is busted. We called that one. Can't compete in the Rampage Trios final, or semifinal, I guess. And then Uno says 10 can't compete, but that's why I'll be taking his spot. Andrade steps in. He says, what happened? You used to have power. I'm thinking of giving 10 a contract to work for me. He takes his mask off. Jose hands Uno some money. Uno says, me and 10 are Dark Order forever. And then Andrade hits Uno with 10's crutch, and then Jose tases.
I was not expecting someone getting tased on Dynamite tonight.
Jose is my favorite. He is my absolute. I was like, I was in the kitchen. I was like, did he just tase that dude?
Yeah, he tased him. It was great.
That was
good.
Great. Yeah.
Then we get a really good fatal 4-way between Dante Martin, Roosh, Ray Phoenix, Wheeler Yuta. It's one of those matches that I could list booze. Don't do it. It won't do it justice. Sort of like the main event. Just really fun stuff.
Phenomenal.
I'll go through the kind of the finishing sequence though. Yep. So Roosh hits Yuta with a pile driver. Wheeler kicks out of that. Phoenix drop kicks Roosh out of the ring. So Dante hits Phoenix was like a crazy sit down slam type deal. Gets a 2. Phoenix comes in, hits a couple moves I don't think I've ever seen anybody do before. Covers Dante. Roosh breaks that up with a drop kick. He tries to throw Phoenix from the ring. Phoenix does that comeback or heel kick deal. So then Roosh tumbles out of the ring. Dante then hits Phoenix with a poison rana, looks for his finish. Wheeler though pushes him on off the top rope. Wheeler goes up to the top. Phoenix uppercuts him, but then rather doing anything else with Wheeler Yuta, hits a splash on Roosh, and so Wheeler goes back up top, looks for a splash. Dante evades, and then Wheeler puts on the seatbelt to get the win.
That shit where Dante and Phoenix were doing this shit was so fucking cool. After that, we had a Silver and Reynolds interview. Reynolds says, this trios tournament is the biggest opportunity the Dark Order have had, and that means we got to take on 3 guys, just the 2 of us, so be it. And then, of course, as we all predicted, Hangman Adam Page steps in and says, I wanted this tournament to be about the Dark Order, about you guys, but if 10 can't make it and Uno can't make it and nobody's seen Colt Cabana, I guess I'll be your partner. He did not mention Colt Cabana.
He did not.
No.
If he did, Phil would have popped in and
Phil would have said, hey, you fat guy.
Said something nasty to him, too.
Rude, yeah.
Yeah, no. Then we got our main event. United Empire Ospreay. Aussie Open versus the Elite. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Kenny had a bit more spring in his step. I think he had it last time he wrestled, too, but he was telling the story of him getting ring ready. He looked really sharp, really crisp. He was in this match a lot of stuff between him and Ospreay. But still, this feels like tip of the iceberg with these 2.
Yep. No. Oh, dude. Yeah, absolutely. I think, man.
There's a couple of this really awesome sequences with Ospreay and Kenny, like the Snapdragon bit where Ospreay flips out of it, lands on his feet, and then Kenny ends up, then Ospreay sends Kenny out of the ring after Rana, and then he's looking for the Sasuke special. Kenny evades that big Snapdragon on the floor. There's a lot of really good sequences in this match.
Yep. Yeah. No, it was phenomenal.
The finish of this, so Ospreay's calling for the hidden blade. Nick Jackson trips him up from behind. So then Kenny hits Will with a V trigger. The Young Bucks super kick Aussie open. And then Young Bucks and Kenny hit Fletcher with a super kick party. Kenny tags in, calls for the V trigger. Instead, Will hits him with a V trigger. Then that turns into the Elite hitting Will with an Indie Taker. In the end, though, Kenny hits Fletcher with a V trigger, One Winged Angel to get the win for the Elite. They advance to the finals. They'll face the Dark Order, and hey, maybe Ospreay will win the ladder match and face CM Punk down the line for the title.
That'd be pretty phenomenal. That'd be really good stuff.
Pretty cool.
On the road to Worlds Collide, we had the go home for NXT. You know, there is a stretch there. And I think maybe Impact has just sort of stolen its thunder in terms of like that place in my heart, you know? But NXT just isn't really doing it for me much these days. Although I will say I do really appreciate how I don't know if it was like just a leftover mandate that Braun Breaker be NXT champion. If you didn't know, the North American Championship was supposed to be the mid-card champ. Carmelo Hayes is, as he says, the A champion.
Yeah, he's the top guy in NXT. Yeah, without a doubt.
And I was half paying attention to NXT on social media because I just watched. I speed ran it today. But I was so excited when I found out that it was going to be Ricochet and Carmelo Hayes at Worlds Collide. That match has the potential to steal the entire weekend.
Yep.
That's going to be phenomenal stuff.
Really does. It really does. It should be exceptional.
Yeah.
Outside of like the Dynamite stuff and Carmelo and Trick, there's really not much going on in NXT right now.
I really do.
I'm really into.
I honestly, this is my hope, and this is just fucking fantasy booking or whatever. Braun Breaker, what more can you do with him? Send the dude up to main roster. He is what he is. He's a Steiner, okay? You send him to main roster. Maybe they can book him in some stories, and maybe they can flesh out his character a bit more there. Carmelo needs to be leading NXT into whatever this 3.0 era should be, because they're mixing some phenomenal wrestlers from UK. So they're boosting up that like big man. And once Ilya gets there, they're boosting up that, the good match potential there. Whereas, a year ago when they did the rebrand, it was, hey, we're going to get dog shit matches because there's only a couple of really good wrestlers. Well, now there's a bunch more because you got Tyler Bate there. You got Mako Satomura there, assuming she's going to stay. Gallus is there. Who else? I mean, I don't know who else. JD McDonough, he's from UK. He's still there. I really hope they sort of, after Worlds Collide, they say, okay, we've got this. They're all in one pot now. Let's rebrand again to show that this isn't just developmental. We're going to go back to, hey, these are the matches that are going to leave an impression on people whenever we have a takeover in front of 10,000 people. And Carmelo's the guy to lead the way. He is phenomenal. Him and Trick are the thing.
Together. Yep.
And I can't wait for this Ricochet Carmelo match.
Yeah, it's going to be really good. Here's the thing about NXT is you can kind of have your cake and eat it too. You could still have the developmental aspect of NXT on TV.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then still bring back takeovers. And there's obviously tons of talent in NXT that can put on takeover level matches that we grew accustomed to from like 2016 to 2020 pretty much, when they did the rebrand.
Yeah.
So they can kind of have it both ways if that's what Triple H wants to do. But it remains to be seen if that's going to be the route they take.
Yeah.
Some of the, especially with Tyler Bate, some of the interactions didn't make it seem definitive, unless he won the NXT title and unified. He was the one that won the unification match. Didn't make it feel really definitive that he was going to be sticking around after Worlds Collide. I didn't get the sense,
Yeah.
But maybe that's just my interpretation. Maybe I'm off. You think anybody who won a unification bout would be sticking around, obviously. Hopefully Mako Satomura is going to be sticking around because she should totally win that match.
I hope so. I mean, part of me just wants to see her go to like Raw or SmackDown. Because the possibilities on main roster for Mako, especially, I'm sure she can probably wrestle another 15 to 20 years if she wants to. But the way she's going now with the matches that she's had in UK, you can't tell. There's a laundry list of dream matches up there. I'm not talking about Fallon Henley. I'm talking about, Sasha Banks when she comes back, Bayley, Becky Lynch, all of them. I'm talking about all those awesome women's wrestlers up there on main roster for Mako, Asuka, obviously, Io Shirai, just a ton of them. And I want to see those matches. And I don't know what Mako's contract is like with WWE, but I think it'd be kind of foolish for her to stick around too much longer. So maybe Blair Davenport's gonna
That's
win.
Entirely
that
possible.
Mandy needs to go to main roster.
I know.
It's been a while now.
Yeah, I know. We had a lot of main roster cameos throughout the night. We had Finn Balor. We had Ciampa. We had Rhea Ripley. We had, who am I forgetting?
Finn Balor, Ciampa, Rhea Ripley, Gunther. That was I like that one.
Shayna.
Yeah.
Pete Dunne.
Yeah.
Via FaceTime.
Oh, shit. Pete Dunne was there?
Yeah.
Ooh.
So Fit Finley comes over to Tyler Bate and hands him an iPad, and Pete Dunne's on it.
Oh, shit. I didn't see that.
It was pretty much, hey, go win this, essentially.
I win this. Uh-huh.
Anyways, let's jump into it. Opened with Grayson Waller versus Apollo Crews. Waller grabbed the mic before the match began like he was going to do a promo. Nope. He's interrupted by Apollo's entrance. So the main story beat in this match was Apollo gets poked in the eye.
Mm-hmm.
And it came in play at the end where Crews is looking for a press slam. Waller escapes. And he escapes to the apron. Does the thing where he grabs Crews by the head and yanks it over the top rope. Looking for his finisher, that rolling stunner. Crews catches him, and then Waller pokes him in the eyes, hits the stunner to get the win.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the finish itself was actually pretty impressive because Waller, that whole thing, Waller's stunner thing, there was a lot of coordination there. Mm-hmm. Apollo Crews had some good-looking gear on, too. That powder blue
that
he
was
wearing.
Great.
Ooh,
yeah.
That looked nice. After that, we had a Mako Satomura video package. And then we're inside my favorite place these days in NXT, the Diamond Mine Gym. Creeds and Damon Kemp are talking shit about Gallus. Roderick Strong comes in. He's like, "Hey guys, I've got security cam footage. I'll prove that I wasn't." And Julie's like, "I don't care. I don't trust you." And he says, "Forget this." And he leaves. And then Kemp says, "You know what? I don't even trust that Roderick Strong anymore." Which makes me think Damon Kemp might turn on the Creeds or something and join Roderick Strong. I think that shit might happen. And then Ivy Nile steps in with what's her name? Tatum Paxley. Fallon Henley, Tatum Paxley, Kiana James, they all sound the same. And she and what's her name?
Ivy Nile?
Tatum Paxley. Tatum Paxley. She had like a face thing on, a face protector thing on.
Yeah.
Ivy's like, "Hey, you guys are acting like children and being petty. Get it together. We're trying to train to take another shot at those tag titles." And Tatum Paxley says, "Yeah, look what Ivy did to me. Imagine what we're going to do to our opponents."
Yeah. Yep. And then we got Finn stepping up to Braun Breaker backstage. He says, "I'm going to give you some advice." He says, "I've beaten wrestlers larger than me. Don't underestimate the moment or your opponent."
I was like, I didn't know if he was going to challenge Braun or he was trying to pump him up, but I guess he was trying to pump him up here.
Yeah, some of these little bits where people were giving advice didn't quite make a ton of sense.
Ciampa was literally reading cue cards.
Yeah, I know.
Which was kind of shocking to me. I was like, he is making it so obvious right now because he was barely looking at Braun. He was looking in one very specific spot. At one point, he said it was weird. He was like, "Braun, you really need to next card win this," and I was like, "That's confusing." Anyways, after that, Katana Chance and Caden Carter beat Ivy Nile and Tatum Paxley. Of course, Tatum Paxley was the one to eat the pin here after Katana and Caden hit their finish. But of course, Toxic Attraction had shown up ringside as the distraction here. For Ivy Nile and Tatum Paxley. So afterwards, Carter and Chance say, "Hey, we're gonna wrestle you guys again soon. We've cleared out the division, so we're gonna throw a party in the parking lot to celebrate." It's like throwing a party in a shark pit, man. That place is dangerous.
Yeah, that's one of the most dangerous places in this entire state of Florida.
So they're interrupted by Dewdrop and Nikki ASH. And they challenge Caden and Katana to a match for the tag titles at Worlds Collide. And that challenge is accepted. So that should be a lot of fun. I really dig that silver jacket, the silver outfit.
Yeah, it looked great.
That looked really cool.
That looked great.
Yeah.
Then we got a Kiana James video package. She just talks a bunch of trash about Zoe Stark in advance of their match tonight. Next, Schism talks a bunch of crap about some recognition ceremony, which happens soon. But before that, we get Trick and Mello. They're arriving at the PC, and they have the cameraman try to do an interview. And Carmelo says, "I only want to talk if we're talking about my opponent at Worlds Collide."
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This was so fucking bad. So here's, sometimes we talk about our viewing experience. Now, I texted you this the other day, so you already know the story. But yesterday, when this was on, it was like around 5:40. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I'll turn on NXT real quick, see what's going on, because I'd noticed there was some stuff was going on. And I turned on right at the beginning of this.
Oh, dear.
And it was excruciating. It was so incredibly long. And then it followed up with the Roxanne Perez video package, which I like her as a wrestler. I think she's a good wrestler. So far, they have not presented a character that I care at all about. Mm-hmm. And so I turned it off, and then I speed runned the rest of it today.
Yeah. So the crowd's not into this. They at first chant, "Shut the fuck up."
Right. Yeah.
Schism. And then boring.
Yeah.
As Gacy just blathers on about Grimes joining them.
So boring.
And then he gives Gibson and Drake some smiley face buttons.
Yeah.
For some reason. Eventually, Grimes comes to the ring. He says, "No, I'm not joining." Gacy tries to play some mind games. Grimes just says, "Yeah, you're right. I lost North American title, but I don't need anybody. So I'm out of here." And then Gacy says, "Another night for you without a championship, without a family, and without a father." And so that gets Grimes to get back in the ring. He takes out Grizzled Young Veterans. Gacy's about to punch him, and then instead gives him a hug.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And then by that point, Grizzled Young Veterans are back in the ring. They're about to attack. Gacy calls them off, and then Grimes just leaves.
It ain't working. It's not working at all.
No.
And then we had a Roxanne Perez video package, a lot of drone shots of her staring at water. Mm-hmm. Then we had Fit Finlay handing I didn't see this. I've already said that. But apparently Fit Finlay handed Tyler Bate an iPad.
That's correct.
Pete Dunne was there. Be kind of cool if then Trent Seven dialed in and said, "Say it.
Yeah.
You're going to win." But that didn't happen.
Didn't happen.
No.
They're feuding. That really can't happen.
Are they still? Oh, that match is tomorrow. That's right.
It's tomorrow, the last NXT UK.
I know. We may do a watch along. I have an electrician coming at like 9. What time is it air? 12 or 1?
Noon.
Noon, our time? Okay. Eesh. All right, that's cutting it close. After that, we had Briggs, Jensen, and Fallon versus Pretty Deadly and Lash Legend. The Gallus comes to ringside. Security gets between them in the ring. Briggs jumps off the apron to go after Gallus. Joe Coffey hits Jensen with a boot. Elton Prince rolls up Jensen to get the win. And then a giant brawl breaks out, and security clears the ring.
Yeah. Then we're backstage. Mandy's on her phone. She hangs up. Shayna Baszler walks up to her. She tells Mandy, "You better unify the titles for NXT and for yourself. Because if you don't win on Sunday, everything you've said for the last year, garbage."
I wonder if she meant everything you've done over the past years will mean nothing. Because I don't know what everything you said over the last year. I mean, I guess just talking all that trash about her being the best or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, after that, we had a JD McDonough interview. He's weird. He's like,
yeah.
Hey, he calls out Wesley for calling him creepy. I mean, it seems like a performance of a guy who's being creepy, not a guy who's actually creepy. This is kind of a little interesting bit of business. He kept on adjusting the microphone in her hand.
Mm-hmm.
So at least he's trying to find stuff to make this work. So he talks a little bit about his self-care routine, and he says, "I'd rather be a little creepy than emotionally fragile like Wes Lee." Regardless of his character, that match is probably going to be really, really good.
Yeah, I would think so. I would think so. Next, we had Andre Chase versus Charlie Dempsey. Dempsey just, I don't know, for about a good 5-7 minutes, just stretches Andre Chase all over the place.
Yeah.
So Chase is reaching for the bottom rope, and Bodie's there rooting him on. And then rather than just worry about winning the match, Charlie Dempsey then boots Bodie, releases the submission hold, hits him with a gut-wrench suplex on the floor, gets back in the ring, and then Chase rolls him up to get the win.
Yeah, that was dumb. Charlie Dempsey should have tapped this dude out in like 10 seconds.
I know.
Yeah. After that, this moment was so nice.
This felt like the most genuine, heartfelt thing of the entire show.
Yeah, so Alba Fire walks up to Mako. They stare at each other. She says, "Title looks good on you." And then Mako says, "I won it from a great champ." And then Alba says, "Go win on Sunday." And that was it. But it was so genuine, it was so nice.
It really was. It was great.
Yeah.
Then Walter walks up to Tyler Bate.
Hey.
And says this NXT UK title has a legacy. Of course, it gets in there on the longest reigning champion.
Yeah.
And he says at Worlds Collide, you need to bring the Tyler Bate that fought me for 45 minutes in Cardiff.
Yeah.
You need to unify the titles. European wrestling depends on it.
That's heavy, man.
That is.
That is really a heavy statement right there. The entirety of European wrestling depends on it. After that, we had Zoe Stark versus Kiana James. Oh, wait a second. We didn't talk about that horrible Kiana James video.
Oh,
segment.
I just breezed right past that.
Thank God for that. This match reminded me, and I was like, oh, that was so bad.
It was not good.
Yeah. Anyways, what happens here? Oh yeah,
Zoe gets the win with her finish, and then afterwards, Kiana's about to blast Zoe Stark with her tote bag from behind.
Right.
Nikita Lyons gets in the ring, spears Kiana James, hits her with a spin kick, and Kiana James takes her leave.
So we're going to get a Kiana James, Nikita Kronus feud. Interesting.
It looks likely.
After that, we had a Blair Davenport interview. She says NXT in the UK was built on their women's divisions, but no one on either show has done what I'm going to do, unify the titles. And then she sees somebody's over there, and sure enough, it's Rhea Ripley. She says, I'm the only woman to hold both the UK and NXT women's titles. She says, don't screw it up. Not quite the genuine emotional encounter that we had earlier from Alba Fire and Makos out of more.
I know. Next, we had Nathan Frazier and Axiom reading comic books, WWE comic books, backstage. And then Frazier says, it's a shame that you, Axiom, who's obviously a kid, doesn't know what it's like to wrestle in NXT UK. And then Axiom lowers his comic book and is like, I'm a kid.
He's like, you do know who we've done. Okay.
Probably had a match, yeah. And then Axiom says, maybe we should engage in some friendly competition so I can get a sense of what it was like. And then Frazier's like, oh, yeah, we could have one of those British round matches, but, you probably wouldn't be that into it. And then Axiom says, yeah, sure, best of three.
That's got to be a gag, right? They've probably had, did they meet in a Heritage Rules tournament or something?
I'm pretty sure they had a Heritage Rules match.
Okay. All right.
I think that's the joke. Yeah.
That's the joke. Okay.
I'll say this, and maybe this is foolish for me to think. This segment gave me hope that Axiom's going to lose his mask at some point.
Is Nathan Frazier going to recognize him?
Well, if he takes the mask off, yeah.
He really should. He really should lose the
he should recognize his voice.
No, well, that's what I'm saying. He doesn't recognize him now.
But maybe Nathan Frazier's a real visual guy.
Oh, okay, sure. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
that could be, After that, we had Gallus versus the Diamond Mine. And again, this ends in a giant brawl.
Yeah.
Joe Coffey hits Damon Kemp with a discus clothesline, but because Roderick Strong comes out with a phone trying to show them the footage that he pulled from the security camera, and instead Damon Kemp, who was on the verge, he had one of the Gals boys up in a thing. I think he had Mark up in a thing, and he has to put him down and go outside and be like, I don't want to see your phone right now, man.
He smacks it out of his hand.
Then he stomps on it.
Yeah.
So he gets back in. He takes out Mark and Wolfgang. Joe Coffey hits Kemp with a discus clothesline to get the win for Team A. So Pretty Deadly hit the ring to attack Gallus and Diamond Mine. Security tries to break up the brawl. Oh, by the way, of course, when Damon Kemp did hit that phone out of Roderick Strong's hand, did you see which security guard came up? Hey, you're not supposed to be here. It was Seth Rogen.
Yeah. Then we get Braun. He's watching the fight backstage, and he's pantomiming the punches and stuff. He's doing this.
Dude, it was like he's watching G.I. Joe or something.
I know. It was great.
Child.
It was great. So then Ciampa pulls up a chair next to him and then says, hey, there's a lot of pressure on you, but, represent the brand, add to your legacy, and more important than anything else, go win. No pressure at all.
Next cue card. Yeah. Win. Do anything. Win.
Huge letters, win, exclamation point.
Yeah, win. He's like, oh, the bigger the letter, I'm supposed to say it louder. Can we run this again? Oh, it's live? Anyways, after that, we had Mello and Trick walking backstage. Mello says there's a big problem got a lot of problems with World Collide. I'm not on it, and I'm about to address it. Then we had another Quincy Elliott video package. He says the WWE universe is about to find out who I am. He's like, coming to change the game. The old saying is that life ain't perfect, but we're not living the life of Quincy Elliott. And he was wearing a Spice Girls t-shirt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had this awesome
segment was great.
This was awesome Mello and Trick promo. So,
this was great.
Yeah. So Trick says every week Mello comes out, puts on banger after banger after banger, and for some reason he's not on Worlds Collide. He says no premium live event without the premium superstar, the A-Champ. He says usually we come out here and tell jokes, but not tonight. I want Mello to tell the crowd what he told me backstage.
And then Mello says, I've been trying to figure out why they're keeping the A-Champ off Worlds Collide. He says, I broke the rebel heart. This ain't no dream. You can't swerve me. I'm no limit Mello. And all this talk about unifying championships, I did that 8 months ago, so let's talk about it. I'm the greatest North American champ of all time. They tried to tell me it was a secondary title, and I told them I've never been secondary to anyone. I will not be taking my talents to Worlds Collide, and I won't be defending my title. There's no one on my level anyway. There's no one on the level below my level. It says, and that's all it is, and that's all it's going to be. And so lights go down. You hear this? Guess that.
One
Ricochet.
and only. I
And
wish
so
they brought back his old music.
I know. I was hoping they would. So when Ricochet comes to the ring and Melo says, "Hey, Trick, look, he's got a microphone in his hand. I don't know if he knows what to do what to do with that." Yeah. And the Trick tells Ricochet, "Don't hurt yourself, dog."
Ironically enough, this was like the most genuine I've heard Ricochet sound in a while.
I will say this. I know you've been critical of his mic skills over the last year and a half, 2 years.
Oh,
he's gotten way more comfortable on the mic. It's been a process, but he's been getting more comfortable.
So in certain situations, and I think this is one of them because there are a couple moments here where it just felt more improv-y, and I think it probably was. It wouldn't shock me if there was a little bit of that. Ricochet, when he's in a certain environment, he comes off as genuine, which is kind of, all you can really ask for.
Well, that's a huge thing. You want to come off as genuine on the mic.
But it's just too often because he had those scripted promos. He didn't know how to do that. But anyways, here I thought he was pretty good because it just sounded like he was, talking. So he thanks the crowd because the crowd's really into him, of course, because he's Ricochet. He's awesome. He says, "Okay, you guys need to shut up though, because I'm here on official business. Because I don't see why Worlds Collide has to be NXT versus NXT UK. Why not add some blue brand to it? Add some SmackDown to it." He says, "Melo, you're doing great, but you can't do it like I can do it in the ring." Melo says, "Ricochet might be the one and only, but you're just going to be one of many who have stepped up to the A-Champ and get stepped on. Since we're so similar, then they can see what's good because there's not enough room for both of us." Ricochet says, "The thing about your title defenses, you've had so many he said, you've had so many title defenses, but nobody remembers any of them." He says, "So because of that, I thought I'd come to NXT and give you a match that the fans can remember." He says, "I've held that title once and I plan on holding it again and becoming a 2-time North American champion." And so that really pisses off Melo, and Trick is holding him back. Trick's already taken his shirt off, and so we know what he's about to do. Takes a swing at Ricochet. Ricochet ducks that. He kicks Trick. Melo looks for a springboard lariat, but Ricochet counters that amazingly with a recoil.
Yeah.
And then holds up the North American title. This is the kind of thing that can really because here's the thing. Melo's been here in NXT. NXT doesn't get a lot of buzz these days. This is that opportunity for them to reestablish themselves as a brand that can create some buzz again.
Yep. This match would be phenomenal.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty terrific. We've got a couple moments here. We can answer some questions.
Yep.
Over on the Patreon at patreon.com/Steve and Larson. First up, let's see here. Xavier Gray. Who do you think has a better chance of walking out of NXT when after Worlds Collide as the undisputed NXT Women's Champion? I think it's not going to be Mandy. And now that I say that, it's probably going to be Mandy.
Yeah.
But it should be Mako, but I could see it being Blair as well if they want to move Mako on somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of a 33 to 30% chance, I feel like, for each of them.
Yeah. This is a great question here from Alex Foster. Did anybody else notice that AEW's locker room problems really started being emphasized once Vince retired? Was Vince McMahon the glue holding AEW together?
Wow. I hadn't thought about that way.
Yeah, man. Once he was gone, I don't know. Maybe he was giving some rah-rah speeches to the AEW locker room.
Yeah, who knows? Mayor Planet Houston, do you feel like Punk versus Mox should be the match? I think only the crowd Chicago will be happy with an inevitable Punk win.
Wait, what?
Do we really feel like that Punk versus Mox should be the all-out match?
Yeah. I mean, look, is it like my preference? Probably not, because of the way Mox has been so dominant, and it seems obvious where this is headed. And And at this point, I just really appreciate the work Mox has done. And that shit with Hangman really left a sour taste in my mouth. I'm not going to lie about that. I thought it was stupid. It was unprofessional. And I think that I doubt he learned any lessons from it. I mean, he body shamed a dude tonight in the crowd for chanting Colt Cabana. So that being said, it would be kind of silly to go to Chicago and not do a CM Punk match for your main event, given that he was just the champion. It'd be just kind of silly not to. So I understand it. As a fan, I would much rather see something else and they move on with Mox as champion. And I think even a business case could be made, plus Delta or no, that Mox is the most reliable guy that you have at his level of name recognition. But I don't have access to the numbers and Tony Khan does. And so I think there's a reason why he rolls with Punk.
And here's another thing they could have done in a grand sense is you have Punk with this tough defeat coming back too early. Then he has to go through the process of building himself back up.
Yeah.
They could have took another year telling the story again and have him win the title again next year at All Out or something. I don't know what, but
this is interesting. Eastnick says Sean Ross Sapp has just reported that Bobby Fish's contract is not being renewed.
Yep.
When did he? Oh, it was around All Out time.
Yeah.
Wow. So I guess the Undisputed Era is not going to be trios in like a trio situation, and no region. Didn't Kyle O'Reilly sign like a 5-year deal or some shit like
Probably,
that?
yeah.
Jeez.
Maybe Kyle O'Reilly's like, okay, cool, I'll solo run.
I mean, that could be. That's where he was headed in NXT, and maybe that was his preference. And Bobby Fish, I'm sure he probably has a lot of wrestling left in him. He's not as young as Kyle O'Reilly, I don't think. He's a bit older.
No, he's much older.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
War Machine MJ here says, is Finn giving advice counterproductive to Judgment Day's mission statement? Does Finn being a legend in the biz, is that counterproductive as well? At this juncture, I'm kind of unclear what Judgment Day's mission statement is.
Yeah, do we really know? Do we really know what it is?
Other than just Damian Priest saying, Judgment, this is your Judgment Day.
And this is your Judgment Day. I like the Damian Priest Wales thing where he stayed with the Welsh family. It was pretty funny. I wish they would have given him more opportunity to say more. But I thought it was pretty good. Let's see here. Okay, we've sort of talked about that. We've talked about this, although we sort of glanced over it. Most supposed as when Mox left the contract in the ring. In kayfabe, why wasn't there a 24/7-esque mad dash to the ring for a shot?
What did I tell you? It should have been a scramble match right then and there for that contract.
I know. People need to be in the room asking these questions.
I know.
Why didn't everybody run down and trample Ace Steel?
I know.
As he came to swoop that contract.
I know.
Let's see here. Gregory Mullen, do you think they're rewinding the Cody Brody Lee angle? First match surprise squash, second match more dynamic. Yeah, I mean, it kind of feels that way.
It does, but with the Cody situation, he was just gone for a bit. But Punk's returning from injury, and they seem to indicate that he had re-injured himself.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah, that was different.
And that's
here's the thing.
Bit different,
when Cody came back, he was powered up because he had dark hair.
Yeah. He was referencing Superman Returns.
Exactly. When you reference Superman Returns, you got a better shot at the bad guy.
Yeah.
Cody's the best, man. God damn it, he's so good. Dog Authority figure.
Hold on. Mayor Planet Houston asked, why didn't Ace Steel sign the contract himself so he could finally have his moment in the spotlight? I don't know what it is.
If he's so down on his own career that he would say, I'm happier with another man's career, why wouldn't he? Why, it's a good chance. You know what? You can turn that around, buddy. Just sign that contract.
That's true. But
now it's Ace Steel's time.
He'll be prouder of Punk if he can convince Punk to take the match and then win the title.
Punk should have said, look, Ace, we've been friends for a long time. You're more proud of my career. I want to be more proud of your career. You sign that fucking thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then they just start yelling at you. You sign the fucking thing. You sign the fucking thing. You sign the fucking thing.
Start slapping each other.
Sign the fucking thing. Sign the fucking paper.
So it should.
Maggie says he low-key resents Punk and wants him to get his ass whooped again by Mox. He's like,
maybe.
I have been dealing with this fucking guy for 15 years now, and he's kind of a turd, and I secretly thought it was fucking hilarious when he got annihilated in 3 minutes last week. I want to see it again, but this time in Chicago.
I know.
Oh, man. That's a good one, Maggie. I think you're onto something there.
Could be.
All right. That's going to do it. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We appreciate it. Till next time, we'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.